I'm not
All
sure how this
right.
is going to work, but the
All
twist
right.
was, what does that event? Why does that event occur in nearly every timeline?
Oh,
Oh. Oh,
oh.
I got
Then
it.
I, then I need to. Oh,
And you went with the
I
Black Death? This is a
Well,
layup for you,
he went with the
Cody.
main, didn't he, in the end?
Oh shit.
I went with the main. That doesn't occur in every timeline, so
No,
that's a
no, it
little too
doesn't. It
specific.
doesn't.
Yeah.
But we can rephrase our options. Like uh
Yeah.
mine could be the 100 Years War either occurs in every timeline or the French win it in every timeline. I'll let you choose, you two decide. Craig, you went for Ferdinand.
Yeah.
Okay, yours is World War I happens in every timeline.
Oh
That's
well,
your
yeah.
call.
That's actually that's a
I
hard
got.
one to beat, eh? That's pretty.
And Cody with Maine, help me out here, Craig. What's his
Could that be? It could be Spanish America War, American Empire rise, maybe America rising is inevitable.
the
Or I
There's
the
don't.
uh
Is that
manifest destiny for America is inevitable. That could be yours.
okay? So this is just like we're supposed to argue why that would happen in every timeline,
Yeah,
or
basically, like no matter how many
oh,
things you
inevitability.
change, you end up with that final thing.
Yeah, okay, that makes more sense. Like it's
Choices
okay,
are really
inevitable.
good.
that
Yeah.
okay, that
Choices are
works.
really good
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
Okay.
that's good.
Okay.
So
All right,
manifest destiny happens in every timeline. The
Oh,
French
that
always
works.
win the 100 Years War, and World War I always happens.
Wow. Okay,
This is
that's
cool. This is
yeah.
cool. All
Um.
right.
All right, cool.
Who should go first?
I think it's you now. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
yeah, sure.
All
I
right.
can explain why the
I'll go
Great War
last.
was always going to happen. All right. So regardless of Ferdinand, the Great War was going to happen. The all the key players were actually looking for war. Germany, for example, had the Schlieffenpan, ready to go ever since it all goes back down to France, the Austro-Prussian War there. Like France wanted to retaliate for what had happened in the 1870s. It was bound to happen. Britain tried to do like the Treaty of London to, thwart the possibility of them having to be involved in a European war, but they knew there was going to be a European war. It was inevitable. I mean, you have too many situations that lead up to it. Other than Ferdinand, it's like you have when Otto von Bismarck died, he had basically put together this machine that only he could run, and he was a master at it. It was stupid what he had done because he had made a literal grenade that you just take the pin out of, but he knew how to put the pin back in. As soon as he was gone, as soon as they got rid of him, like it was inevitable that this great war was going to occur. So even before the Duke gets killed because he's an idiot who goes somewhere where the people wanted to kill him, and then he decides to go to that police station anyways. That wasn't really what started World War One. Sure, it's a little like pebble that you can throw in the pond to say that it like got it going, but it was inevitable because of basically the situation that arose after the 1870s. Some people argue after the Napoleonic Wars this was inevitable. It's a rabbit hole. It's one of those things. It's like, World War II is because of World War One. Well, World War One was because of all X factors going back. Done. Ran out of time.
Okay.
You want me to go?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. I will say that was good. That was a good argument, but
Yeah.
I know. Just cut that out. Cut that out.
No. No, I don't think I will.
So all right, let me prepare. Because everyone else is preparing, so I have to get in mindset.
Of course.
All right. So Manifest Destiny. Why did Manifest Destiny even occur in the first place? Why was it inevitable that the United States was always going to spread? And it was simply, at the end of the day, due to population. The way that the European empires colonized the Americas was entirely different than the way that the English colonized the Americas. Spain and Portugal used the Americas for extraction. France simply used it for fur trade. The English used it to build another country. They had an overpopulation problem, and they basically came over and just created another England on the coast. By doing that, the colonies had a higher population than their French and Indian neighbors by the 1700s. And at that point, it was pretty much inevitable for them to just expand west. that was one of the leading causes of the American Revolution, was because these people wanted to expand west in the first place. Ever since the colonies have existed, they've only wanted to expand west. And that's due to population, and that's just due to the idea that they wanted to exploit this this area of that nobody else had actually claimed yet. North America before the United States was seen as the lesser territory, and there was no way for Spain or France to really compete over it, which is why France lost the French and Indian War, because they just didn't have the numbers to actually hold that territory down.
Done.
All right. That was my best attempt.
Pretty good one.
Nice.
Pretty good one. I often think, like, going back to the previous one, I have thought that we live in a reality that's a time traveler has gone back and saved Hitler multiple times, because it's like, how did he survive all these attempts in Valkyrie and someone would like move the briefcase? Do you know what else I thought of this about? The 100 Years' War. I feel like we live in the reality where they still won, because it's inevitable for them to win, but they won not as spectacular as in other timelines where they could take over England. My point is, there is no way England wins, for the same reason why there's no way France wins the 7 Years' War. You just have a fraction of the population. England does a fraction of the resources that you can employ, a fraction of the legitimacy. Even you had every opportunity. You took Paris. You had several really shitty French kings making really shitty decisions and getting captured. This was the easiest thing, the easiest timeline for you to win against France, and you didn't. Why? Because at the end of the day, Cody is right. Geography is important. The geography of France in that particular timeline allowed it to have a much, much bigger population, and it was also well defended by the people, by the states around it. Throw as many rocks as you want, change as many things as you want. You know, let England win the Castilian Civil War and the Britain Civil War and get allies and get the Dutch and get not the Dutch, the Lowlands. Anything you want, you can throw at it. The best you do is a slower defeat.
All right.
Good.
For the counters, I have a cool idea.
Go for
Basically,
it.
counter us by changing something. Create an alternative scenario where Manifest Destiny doesn't occur and England wins in correct scenario.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to think about 7 Years War. I'm gonna have to think of 100 Years War.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a toughie. Right.
What do you that is a tough. I can think of it for Great War, but 100, man.
Yeah.
It's just so hard to.
Do you kill someone? Do you change geography? Do you get someone? It's actually insane. Everything that could have gone wrong for the French did. The Burgundians betrayed them.
Yeah.
So many lost battles, so many dumb kings, but let's not get into that. Craig?
Okay.
It's a good finale, okay. I feel like.
So,
yeah, finale.
Okay, so I guess I'll begin with going after okay, so it's 100 Years War I have to go after. Manifest Destiny.
That's really hard to crack.
That's
all right.
Both of those are hard.
So first off, the Puritans for some reason just really appeal to like the Americans, and they're like, you know, that's just awful. Manifest Destiny, we can't go through with this because there's applications that are like potentially leading to genocide and other horrible things. And just look at what happened to the native populations when, you know, the Great Move going west happens. It just, it can't go down like that. So a lot of the people just get uppity about it, and like they protest the government at the time and don't allow for it to go forward. As for the 100 Years War, I don't need France to win. Truce is drawn up at some point because the sides realize how bloody it could be for 100 Years War. It was terrible, and they let bygones be bygones, and England just realized the geography of France is too much. They're not going to win. They just end up signing a truce in the end.
Works.
That's all I could come up with.
That you had such hard things to rebuke. Like that's It's a mountain. That's pushing a boulder up a mountain.
Manifest destiny was inevitable.
I guess I guess I can go first. Go next.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's think. All right, so French losing the 100 Years' War. The only way that's inevitable if there's just no France. Just everyone just gives up. They're like, man, this France idea, this is stupid. I don't want. And then they just split, like Italy. All of them, every duke and every minor noble, they just split Italy style, and England's able to just kind of sweep up. Maybe in the north, maybe they at least are able to take a little bit of most of the north and stuff. But it's just kind of like not even unified until like the 20th century. The concept of France doesn't even exist, and it's just like, oh man, wow, this is a France, crazy. So yeah, you want France to lose the 100 Years' War? There's just no France. That's it. And I guess going on to the Great War, I mean, I can say that it's pretty possible that it couldn't have happened. It's not like it was an inevitability, because even only a few decades earlier, Britain and France were at each other's throats. So perhaps maybe some. Oh,
I know. Sorry.
No. Okay. Follow that up. Go after Great War.
You should have been like, hey, if there's no France, then there's no Great War.
Pretty, isn't it? Perfectly balanced. This whole thing should be.
Oh, I should have done that. Should have done it. Should have, would have, could have.
Don't worry.
It just seems like France is the problem, eh?
Yeah, France is the problem.
This is such a France-heavy episode, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay. The Great War, I'm changing one thing. I'm making the October Revolution happen a couple of years earlier. For the Great War to happen the way it did, not only do you need the alliance system, you need Russia to babysit Serbia. And that doesn't happen if they're in the middle of a civil war. The alliances are different. Franz Ferdinand, gets shot, Serbia gets annexed, whatever, and it doesn't unfold the way it did. That's my change. And it's not a big change, man. I'm just moving the October Revolution by how many? Like 5 years? As for the manifest destiny, the cheeky answer here is to say that there were cattle somehow in the Americas that would prevent smallpox and make it really hard for those Englishmen to fight millions of Native Americans who are incredibly ferocious. And we see how quickly they adopt gunpowder and the horse. But that's not what I'm going to go with. I'll strangely go with a very popular scenario, and that is the South winning the Civil War. The South wins the Civil War, but not decisively. It's such a bloodbath. It's such a stalemate that America no longer thinks about expansion. They are now in a complete fight for supremacy on the East, and the West is forgotten.
Henry Turtledove would love you.
Yeah, that's a good twist. I like that. I was actually kind of thinking, I know this undermines my own. I was thinking like the South, getting rid of the South, or like a constant fight with the South is probably like the best shot there is.
Yeah.
Like North and South are just divided amongst themselves and they can't focus.
And it's a massive stretch. It's a massive. I have to say, Manifest Destiny really is one because of geography.
Yeah.